As you can see that the trains are running again on Black Rock Road. A sock may be to blame for causing 2 crashes on I-15 in Pocatello. Wolf numbers are on their way to 10 breeding pairs or 150 wolves. Now in contrast, and also according to followthemoney.org, the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence has not spent any money on elections in Idaho. Well, good Monday morning. Taking a look at our current temps in Idaho Falls and Pocatello right now. 10 degrees in Idaho Falls, 16 in Pocatello. Some people may think this, it's just a goose, it's just a bird. Well, you were telling me just a little bit ago, this is actually some big charges you can face if you pull stuff like this. Trains are running again on Black Rock Road and Old Highway 91. And as we've learned today that the driver of the car, 21-year-old Ryan Lish, he is in critical condition at Portneuf Medical Center, according to a spokesman for the hospital. Now, this is video from the intersection that from 7 p.m. last night. ISP says Lish was driving north on the highway in a 1989 Honda Accord when he crashed into a Union Pacific train as it was moving. As you can see, he smashed through the crossing arm before hitting the moving train. Lish was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. One lane of travel was blocked while troopers with Idaho State Police investigated the scene. The roadway was fully opened later in the evening. Now, we'll continue to have more on this accident as it becomes available. Reporting in Income, Logan McDougall. In a year of hot-button issues facing the Idaho legislature, the Guns on Campus bill ranks right near the top. The National Rifle Association sponsored and introduced bill has garnered outcry for and against the law, leading even Boise Police Chief Mike Masterson to say democracy failed when the bill was introduced in committee. But let's go back to our question of who carries more weight in Idaho. From 2003 to 2012, according to followthemoney.org, the NRA has spent $25,550 on candidates in Idaho. Some winners, some losers, and of that over $25,000, $12,600 still sits in the halls of power in Boise. In the Senate, Senators Russ Fulcher and Monty Pierce each had $1,000 injected into their campaigns, while Senators Bart Davis and Clifford Bayer took $500. From the House, Representative Pete Nielsen pocketed $100, Lawrence Denny got $500, Mike Moyle took $1,250, and the bill's sponsor in the Idaho House, Judy Boyle, walked away with $1,250 as well. All of the legislators who took NRA cash voted in favor of the bill. Meanwhile, the executive branch sees Attorney General Lawrence Wasden with $1,000 and Governor Otter with $5,500 in NRA-backed funds. Over that same time frame, the NRA has also spent its fair share of lobbying money in Idaho. According to the Idaho Secretary of State's website, it has been to the tune of over $7,500. A sidebar to the figures from the House, Christy Perry, the sponsor of the bill when it went to the House, openly touts her affiliation with the NRA, posting a picture of a letter of recommendation from NRA lobbyist Matt Dogali on her campaign's website. Perry and her husband Matt are also owners of the Boise gun store Buckhorn Gun & Pawn, which gave her campaign $1,400. Now in contrast, and also according to followthemoney.org, the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence has not spent any money on elections in Idaho. Well, good Monday morning. Taking a look at our current temps in Idaho Falls and Pocatello right now. 10 degrees in Idaho Falls, 16 in Pocatello. Wind speeds of 5 and 7 miles per hour. Now that wind is 7 in Idaho Falls is making the windshield make it feel like -1, 9 degrees in Pocatello. Now taking a look at the satellite and radar over the past 12 hours around the region, you can see there was some scattered snow showers around Island Park, Jackson area earlier today, but those have since moved on. The clouds are sticking around right now in the form of some patchy fog, and that's mostly in the northern portions of East Idaho today. Taking a look at our almanac, 33 is our high for Pocatello, 25 is the high today for Idaho Falls. Our average temperatures are 32 and 28, so just above in Pocatello, but just below in Idaho Falls. Records were set back for the highs back in 2011 with 57 in Pocatello, 52 in Idaho Falls. The lows, though, -17 in Pocatello back in 1990, and -24 for Idaho Falls back in 1978. Joining us this morning for today's Wildlife is Jennifer Jackson from Idaho Fish and Game, and she's actually going to tell us about how they're needing some information on a pretty cruel, and honestly, I think it's a pretty cold incident that happened here in Pocatello. So tell us what happened.
Well, we received several calls over the weekend, as did the Pocatello Animal Shelter, and it was regarding a goose that had been shot with an arrow, and it was discovered at Sacagawea Park. It was still alive and basically flying around and trying to live with this arrow stuck in its neck. So we arrived at the site, our officers did, they tried to catch the goose. It was very mobile and would constantly retreat to the refuge of the river, making it very difficult to catch with nets, with anything we tried. So finally Monday morning, one of our officers had to put it down, which was a very tragic and extremely sad end for this goose. And very, very unavoidable if people would just, leave these animals alone.
Now, some people may think this, it's just a goose, it's just a bird. Well, you were telling me just a little bit ago, this is actually some big charges you can face if you pull stuff like this.
That's correct. First of all, it's not just a goose. If it was just a goose, then people wouldn't care. And we all care, the personnel at Fish and Game as well as the people in this community care about our wildlife. And we're entrusted with managing wildlife. And part of that includes finding people that mistreat and are unethical in the way they behave with wildlife.
A sock may be to blame for causing 2 crashes on I-15 in Pocatello. 4 p.m. Wednesday, Idaho State Police responded to mile marker 69 between Clark Street and Pocatello Creek Road. Police say 18-year-old Jenny Morrison of Downey drove off the left shoulder, overcorrected, crossed 3 lanes of travel before crashing into a guardrail and overturning. Morrison was taken by ground ambulance to Portneuf Medical Center. The details of her injuries are unknown, but she was able to tell police that she was, quote, fixing her sock when she took her eyes off the road. 2 lanes of travel were blocked and the resulting heavy traffic led to a second accident. Police say 54-year-old Michael Hymas of Chubbuck failed to slow down and had to swerve to avoid a collision. He lost control, overturned, and sideswiped another vehicle, but the 2 drivers in the second accident were uninjured. And 2 people are in custody and facing multiple charges this morning after police searched a home in the 50 block of Driftwood in Pocatello. According to Lieutenant Paul Manning with the Pocatello Police Department, officers with the Detective and Patrol Divisions executed a search warrant around 10:15 a.m. on Tuesday. And during the course of the search, officers found methamphetamine, paraphernalia, counterfeit currency, and production equipment. 23-year-old Jenna Michelle Volman and 36-year-old Marcus Kelly Hopkins were arrested on forgery charges. Lieutenant Manning says the pair will face more charges as the investigation continues.